All right. Let's get all the messaging out. Hey, Jimmer. Yeah, we're early because Frez wanted to watch, and I felt bad because Friday night they weren't available. Also, why is this chat not working? Okay, there we go, I think. And also, oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, 4 a.m. They had fallen asleep. I felt kind of bad. Um, Also, we're going to be doing a little bit of community demo, I guess, whatever we want to call it. Um, as mentioned in the post, it's going to be looking at RP and triggers. Hey, gamer. Welcome, welcome. Well, not so much a demo. It's probably the wrong way of putting it, but gamer here is new to RP and triggers as well. New to making achievements in general, so I want to show off some beginner tips and tricks, just how to get started, really. I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I wanted to stream earlier, but then I woke up at 10, had to get some coffee going, had to wake up, had to have breakfast, morning ritual type stuff. So, hour 15 minutes later, here we are. Really? Oh, I I don't know. I'm mixed on RP. My last set I found RP quite fun, but my current set not so much because it's I tried to be a little overly ambitious with it. My mistake. Um, okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean RP, I really enjoy it, honestly. It I think it's overwhelming because it's written in script, right? So if you've become familiar with the GUI over the course of your development, which many people do, um, this is a new topic, right? This is a new thing. Um, yeah, so there's a trick for that, Jammer. You, in theory, you never have to touch the prefixes. Um, so that's one thing I want to show off here. I realize we're short on screen real estate, but maybe we can make this work. Yes, the dummy achievement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my script. Actually, probably a better way of looking at this would be in the local file. So I'll try to make this all encompassing, but I will forget stuff. I will 100% forget stuff. Honestly, I need to rework my RP. I'm just not sure to what degree I want to do that. Um, so I need to. Is this gonna mess with the? No, I think we're good. Okay. Oh my God, I have like brain frogs this morning. What am I doing? All right, looking for the script. Retro. So I guess the first thing, the very first thing when we're talking RP, yeah, I've only drank about half of this, maybe a little less, so it's a work in progress, we'll say. Um, so when you're very first, starting out with RP, square one, you need to create your rich presence file. To do that, you go to your RE Retro or BizHawk in your case, gamer, and then go to RE Cache and then data. And this contains every game and its local file. Some of these are generated automatically, like your notes, and I believe just the regular game ID without anything is the achievement listing. Um, but you also have rich. Now, sometimes you have to make this, but the format is pretty universal here. So if you're missing a rich presence file, you just make a file with game ID hyphen rich.txt. And in here will be your local rich presence. And this is a similar concept to your achievements, to your leaderboards you have. Okay, yeah, we'll hang out for a second while that ad plays. I honestly, the hardest part is, hey, press. Getting 4 ads at the start. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. Basically, I mean, as far as I know, there's 30 seconds of ads every hour, which is really like not much. I think they tend to front load them. So if you only watch for 4 hours and you watch 2 minutes of ads at the start of stream, I think that covers you for 4 hours. I could be wrong on that, but I still need to look into how to uh, play ads during stream. So if I step away, I could play like 2 ads so nobody else gets the initial ad roll. We got to check into that though. So as I was saying before, you got that ad. These files store all of the local data for your game, the notes, the achievements, the leaderboards, and the rich presence. Similar to all of those things where you have it on your machine and then you promote to unofficial and then eventually it goes core. The same is true for RP. You only promote this when you're ready. It is RP day, at least for a little while, RP and triggers. At some point, we'll see how long this takes, but at some point I do want to pivot to more achievement making because I feel like we're finally back on track for the set. Yeah, I know you love RP, but I guess you either would have to love it or hate it, given all the work you put into it. Um, but yeah, so this is the local file, like I was mentioning. You just create this in your RE cache data folder, and then you could start getting in here and modifying it. Some very foundational things with RP are that you have these lookup tables. You don't need to worry about these just yet, but foundationally, the very bare minimum that you need is a display header at the bottom. You probably want at least one conditional display. Conditional displays just have your criteria for the display. In this case, this is just to say that address F7768 equals this value, and this is what will be displayed for the player. So between the question marks is the set of conditions or individual condition. Um, Sometimes you have multiple, like in this one. Like this is a 1 equals 1. I believe S is either an and or an or. I don't quite remember. But I'll show you one cool thing you can do is you can copy a string of conditions into an achievement or out of an achievement and into RP. So if we'll just make a dummy achievement here. Actually this contains multiple groups, it appears, so that will not work. Maybe this one will work, just to demonstrate. S is a group separator. Okay, that's a good call. See if I can find one without a group. Right here. And I believe the underscore is, that's definitely an or an and. But here you go. You can paste it in. In this case, it's an and because when no flags are specified, by default, these are and together. So that's all that's saying. And again, we could copy. And now we can paste this back down here. Yeah, this is what I tell basically everybody to do. I haven't made RP by hand in a little while, to be fair, but that's what I would do for my first set, and it was much easier. I do think RA tools is the frankly easiest way to do this, but that's just me. And then so that's it for between the question marks. That is your, hey, when these conditions are met, display whatever's over here, right? You always need a non-conditional display at the end as well. So this is your fallback. This is your default if no conditions are met, right? And this may happen on occasion. This is best practice. I think it's even required. It doesn't need to be the standard playing game as you see on site pages that don't have any RP listed. You can get fun with it. In this game, the main villain organization is called Dealer, and many of the boss names are related to cards, directly or indirectly. So even though poker's not a part of this game, I thought it was fun to add playing poker with Dealer, right? So in theory, nobody should ever see this if your RP is set up correctly, but it's a catch-all in case that happens. And if you happen to look at your RP page and you see this, you know that somebody is doing something that slips all of your conditions. Do you have a space between the last question mark? Yeah, no reason for that. And actually, I would not recommend it. This is proper formatting. Like all of these up here, none of them have question marks. If I say that writing logic strings by hand is terrible, and the only reason you want to do it is if you're ultra limited character-wise and you need to remove unneeded characters such as zeros. Absolutely. I would agree with that, but if you're at that point where you're using 65,000 characters, odds are you're more familiar with RP than probably many developers. Or if you're new and you hit 65,000 characters, maybe you have too many conditional displays. I would argue this is already too many. I thought I got fancy, or I would get fancy, and you'll see many of these are formatted about the same. These are sub-menus in the game, right? So you can look at messages that you receive, you can view your library, you can check your profile, edit folders, view items, manage abilities. Like there's a lot of character setup that you can do in this game, character customization and like story stuff that you can look at. That's basically what all of these are doing. I would argue that the bare minimum is that you, yeah, oh, it definitely could. Just pop all of these in. The reason why I haven't done that yet is because if I go to support another region, which I'm still on the fence about, these pointer values all change. I've looked at this with I want to say the Spanish version of the game. There's a French and Spanish, I believe, and the pointer values all change for those. These are just pointers, which I don't actually get into. I just reference them by value, which in this context is okay. Um, so I haven't reworked that yet. But you're absolutely right. Yeah. So that is worth talking about these lookups here. Um, so let's look at this example, right? So I have a character lookup. This is a very simple lookup that is in the game. So if we actually go here, um, go to the note, right here. So we have a current character address that just has two enums, right? Are you playing as the human or Mega Man, right? Um, and when we create the lookup for that, you can just basically, in many cases, just call it as such. 0 equals 0, 1 equals 1. And you'll see down here too that we have a star for this lookup. This is your everything else. This is your default, your catch-all. And in theory, we could have it here, something like this. Though I know for a fact that every single point in the game, this value will always be 0 or 1. That's a good question, right? How does the lookup know what address to use? So this is just the lookup. The lookups are meant to be universal. So in theory, you can plug in any address that you want here. In our case, we only have one. That would make sense. But we go down to our display, and we can see exploring as macro character, and in parentheses, when you call that macro, you put in the address with the correct prefix. Now you can, of course, just go to the syntax list, the syntax site for rich presence and see what that is. But again, if you're really not a fan of that, you just create a new condition here, and then you can just copy this, copy that one line that you need. Oops, I'm gonna always do that, just open RA tools, and then paste it in. And actually, in this case, I might have this formatted incorrectly because it's M, when it looks like it probably should be H. You could also trim off leading zeros on your address too. I like to do that just for N is measured. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that's there then. This is probably not the game to be looking at when it comes to rich presence because, again, everything was generated with RA tools. So I don't know why it's doing certain things. But this is how it looks in RA tools. Rich presence lookup, character, and then we feed in the current character address and the current character lookup. Actually, this is just the name for it. So I hope I don't get called on that in a review. Like, why do you have a measured flag here? Oh, we're not doing that, Brez. We are not doing that. Honestly, I would probably not even look at my first set RP because I did some nasty shit. Like, the lookups are all reasonable, except when we get to this point, because these are duplicated 4 times unnecessarily. And then I also do the way that ranks are stored in this game. Your current rank could be in one of 22 positions across 4 different leagues, so like a total of 88 addresses. So these are all position checks, rank checks. Just a disgustingly long string, but it works. But otherwise, it's pretty simple. Yeah, there's probably a better way to do that. Actually, I think Rob might have given me a recommendation that I just never tried. Okay, sounds good for us. But yeah, I mean, this is the foundation. Honestly, this will, I think, get you pretty far. Like, there's not much to it um, when you really boil it down. Wait a second. Oh, I was looking for this, but it doesn't have the address. Oh well. Um, so your conditional display into whatever you want to have prepared. And one thing I don't think I touched on yet, it's typically best practice to build it off of your game state. What I mean by that is like, what things can the player be doing in your game, right? In this case, this is at the main menu or waiting for a quick race. This is watching the demo that plays if you don't click through the title screen. This is if you're just doing a quick race. This is if you're selecting a car for quick race. These are basically creating a new save file in underground mode, which is like the main progression mode. This is stage 1 of the story of the campaign. This is like stage 2 of the campaign. And that's it. That's like all you can do in this game, right? So that's all we have to account for in a display. And then we have a catch-all. If for whatever reason the player is like in multiplayer, which we didn't account for here, they're going to get this menu. That's a good question, right? So I got a little extra with my my current set. In terms of game state, right? I could get away with probably just 5 lines, 4 lines even. Well, maybe a little bit more. But we have, when you're in the overworld playing as Geo, which is like the human character, you can't get into battles as Geo. You can just explore the world, talk to people, that sort of thing. So in this case, we show what character you're playing as, because you could also switch into Mega Man while you're in this overworld. You still can't do battles, but you can interact with like different objects and stuff. And I can display this real quick. Display what I mean here. So here we're playing as Geo, right? We can just run around, talk to people, interact with objects, and we could also change into Mega Man and do the same thing. We can't talk to people, but we can interact with, like these guys, for example. But the idea is the same, right? Exploring as Mega Man at this location. And then I display other relevant data for being in the overworld. In this case, these are collectibles, right? Now, if I change back to Geo, you can use measure diff for what part? The ranks. See, I think that is handy, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you could use anything that's in the main achievement builder toolkit in RP. Well, actually, Fred, so one other thing, this is why it's hacky, but I think it works. Let me actually open my old one. Oops. The way I made this work was 22 is the player ID, and equals 1 is just to denote that it's true. Down here, when we look up this address and it's not 22, it just sends nothing. It sends a null value, not even a space character. So we check, are you rank 8? Are you rank 9? Are you rank 10? And if these are all not 22, nothing gets pulled up. So this is just how I check different addresses until I eventually find the player rank, because the player will be ranked somewhere on here. And we just put it out of 21 because there's 21 total ranks. A little messy, but also besides the point, not to confuse folks. Do that single line with a lot of bulk groups and measure dips. Yeah, but then I don't know. On some level, it might become less readable. Hard to say. There's 100 different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. I don't have my PhD in in the RA tools toolkit, or the regular RA toolkit, I should say. Yeah, so going back here real quick. So game state, right? What do we have available? We have overworld exploration, where conditionally I want to display where the player is currently, as well as some other information about what their current standard folder progression is looking like, because these are the things that the player is going to be working towards passively and even actively in the post game. Um, so I have a lookup here to actually display the emoji. I have a lookup to display the count. And the reason we do the emoji is because once they get a max folder, 150, I want to conditionally display a different emoji. And if it's anything else, we display an empty folder. So you can do kind of like neat things like that. We do the same thing for the Mega library as well, which maxes at 45. So conditional displays aren't only for text, they're for anything. They're for emojis, whatever. You could treat emojis as text effectively. Um, the next game state we look at is whether you're battling a boss specifically, because I have a boss lookup table. Um, this is a lookup table for every enemy in the game, and then we have a lookup table for every location in the game. And likewise, we have one for every boss in the game. So no matter who you're battling, we're going to look into that. Because my tables for bosses and enemies are different, even though they could be merged, that was just how I have it set up in RA tools. Because of that, I have different lookups for battling boss versus battling enemy. Fresme have an optimization here as well, but I have 3 separate lookups for how many viruses you're fighting, and viruses are just the main enemy. So when you're playing as Mega Man in the wave roads and you're like fighting enemies and stuff, you could fight 3, you could be fighting 2, or you could be fighting 1. And if I left the lookup at 3, but there's only 1 enemy in play, these values become null. And so it displays incorrectly. So that's why I broke it off. Other main values I would say, are if you ever lose in battle, you die, so to speak, they refer to it as being deleted. So I have one here for when you lose. This is when the credits play. This is when you're loading into a battle. There's a bit of nuance in this game because when scenes transition, sometimes variables, your memory will do weird things. So this is set up in a way to catch many of those things. Um, and then when you win a battle, we also display that. This one is unnecessary though, in theory, because you could just, if you got rid of this, it would fall back to the next available conditions that it meets below, which would probably be actually fighting in a battle or fighting a boss, depending on which is accurate. That's the other key point I don't think I've mentioned yet. These display conditions are evaluated top down. So it's going to check for this. Is this true? Okay, we're going to display that. If it's not true, we're going to check this one. If it's true, we're going to display this. Oh, just hit on it. And so on. And that's why we put our catch-all condition at the very bottom. If none of these are ever met, we fall back to the bottom one. Now that can have an effect too. You have to be very conscious. Yeah, exactly. Order of operations. And that can trip some people up, because if you have these multi-line conditions like I do here, if any one of these happens to be false, it's going to fall back, right? And actually, this is my title screen check as well. That would be another required one, I would say. There's quite a bit more to this. Again, like you can get into alt groups, you can get into more complex, yeah, the monster. I feel bad, I've forgotten her name already. Starts with a C, I think. I just remember it was a good name. Um, anyway, there's probably a few things I'm forgetting about RP, but foundationally, that's it. Um, so the tips and tricks would be start with game state and consider that as your foundation to catch most of your cases, right? In this game, it's like, okay, main menu, overworld, in battle, at the credits screen, like that sort of thing. And you could always fluff it up later if you want, or change things as you see fit. And that's where a lot of these things come in, these sub-menu displays. So I just think it'd be cool. Like it's a little bit more visibility into what the player is doing. Um, Finding the right addresses for your conditional display as well might be tricky, especially if your game has multiple game state variables. But you could always combo them and test them thoroughly as well. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Any questions on that, gamer? Super. And you can really like start simple. Like my first game, you look at these conditions, these are all very simple. That's perfectly okay. Really the bare minimum is that you you account for all the states that your game is in, right? Ideally never falling back to the default state. And you also want some dynamic RP as well, right? So it's perfectly fine to have static RP in places. Watching the demo, okay, well the demo is the same every single time. The player has no control, so don't get fancy, right? Just leave it static. Where you do want to get fancy is when the player is actively playing the game, right? So this being a racing game, for this game, what is the race type? What is the track they're on? And what car are they driving? And if you want, not necessary, you can put emojis in. Some people like them, some people don't. I like them in certain contexts. Yep, I think that's great. Um, I think that's excellent. It's also your choice of separator. You don't always have to use a separator if you don't feel like it fits with your game or how you're structuring your RP. I prefer the pipe symbol for my RP. Other people use the bullet point emoji or ASCII character, I suppose. Um, and Frez, did you even? I don't remember. Did you use any separator for your RP, or was it like a long string, right? I'd have to go back and see it. Oh, you have one. Yeah, so that's a perfect example, right? Where Frez did an RPG. They list a lot of a lot of data about the game. Players exploring this location with this character at level this, and with this character at level that. You know, um, so really, it's your discretion. RE tool is different for RP. So when you write RP by hand, you're in this file, right? You're modifying this. And also worth noting, if you make a change here, um, like we did 1 = 1, and just put testing at the top of this, when you add to this file and save it, it will be immediately reflected in this local rich presence monitor. This is critical for testing because it updates in real time, whereas the site only updates every 2 minutes. And if you have any of the toolkit open, it supersedes your RP. And you can trust that if it shows correctly in your local RP monitor, it will show correctly on the site, even if you can't. Um, no, it's every 2 minutes. So it takes a while. And that's why you want to lean on this, because it's absolutely real time. Um, this is also nice because you can modify memory as needed, right? So simply, like if I want to change my active character, I could just flip this back and forth, and you'll see that it updates just like that. That's my display up. Um, I don't know what you mean on Discord. You can't have your RP on Discord, or do you mean just like the Discord display? I don't know how often that updates. Yeah, you can through a script. Um, Sample of RP. Yeah, okay, so here's Frez's RP. Every character, the level, because I think you can switch characters too. So that's why part of what contributed to their RP being so difficult. Enemy they're fighting, and then chapter. Yeah, very organic. And I think what Frez may have been going for here is that this is all what I would consider to be like current state, things that are actively changing pretty frequently, right? So your character's leveling up frequently, um, their location may change frequently, the enemies they're fighting are changing frequently, and then they break it off with a bullet point, chapter 5. Chapter 5 is like a persistent game state type thing. I think that that works very, very well. Whereas in my case, I split each discrete piece of information off. I don't do any like static text like this. Basically, this is all lookups. So everybody has their own style. I think that covers it. Oh, that's so extra. That is so extra. I love it though. Yeah, I'm sure that helped you graduate. So yeah, happy to help. I think yeah, I think that's everything. I'm sure I missed things, but overall that's it. Chloe says meow. Love it. Yeah, I would say that was a good example. Actually, I don't know how much I should talk about this just because it's like it's speculatory, but there are theories about how to graduate quickly, right? Like if you can go above and beyond to show like extra proficiency in a way that benefits your set and you pull it off, that's a key. Uh, that will definitely help towards graduation. But uh, some juniors have tried to be extra with their set and mistakes were in the mix. That will not, I don't think they'll graduate on that basically. Yeah, similar idea, right? Um, well, hey, you graduated. That's all that matters. They can't ungraduate you. I mean, well, actually they can, but we don't worry about that. That's another thing to consider, though, for folks in stream is, hey Zin, welcome in. Uh, Always remember that whatever you release, you're going to be supporting for the life of your development career on the site, right? So if you get super extra, super complex, you're supporting that, 3 months down the road, 1 year down the road, 5 years down the road. Not to say that you should do everything simply, but you should understand what you're doing and be comfortable with the idea of having to maintain it. And on the flip side, that also means that if you ever get lazy with something like I did with my first set before I released it, um, those things might turn into tickets, which you'll have to address. So, you know, be conservative, but put out quality stuff at the same time, unless you're really comfortable with that maintenance. Yeah, it actually will. I think even if you leave and come back, you're given all the old sets that you published. All right, we can quickly touch on triggers. As I've stated many a time, these are my weak point, but I do have a few good examples. Oh yeah, and I managed to cut my cheat protection down from 295 down to 150 because it turns out I was forgetting to step my range and duplicating my addresses, even though these are 16-bit reads. How does graduation work if you return? The same way. Yeah. So Prez is correct, and actually Prez is a unique case that we can talk about as well. Prez completed their first set sometime in the past, left the program, came back later, released their second set, and was able to graduate on that. So even if you take a break from the program, if your work is still strong, you can graduate on that. So taking a leave of absence does not work against you if it's voluntary. Yeah, 2.5 years ago. That's very telling, right? So don't ever stress if you need to leave for like life circumstances. Um, but the other side of that too is like if you're a full developer and you leave, you come back, and I believe as long as you review the documentation um, and your standards haven't slipped or whatever, you just go right back into the dev role. But keep in mind, if your standards have lapsed, you don't address tickets or your set quality declines below a full graduate, you can get demoted. We have had people in the junior program who used to be full developers. So they have to come back and show that they actually have those proficiencies again before they can re-graduate. So bear that in mind. Oh, I see. I didn't know that. Do you have to do you have to go through the junior program again at that point? Oh my God, brutal. So yeah, point is, leave for 23 months and then come back and like push a code node or something. All right, so let's talk triggers real quick. So for these to be displayed, you have to put them on any condition that is false at the time you want them to be displayed, if that makes sense. So in this case, um, because we have a trigger everywhere else, or sorry, on one condition but not everywhere else, the top four conditions have to be active and accumulating hits for the trigger to be displayed. So in this case, that means battling the boss enemy, which is what this 8C is, be in the correct location, um, have not progressed the story past a certain point, which is this stipulation here, and be in a battling state, right? So all of these things together tell you you're at a very specific part of the story in this very location fighting this enemy, and then it will display. And then the only thing that doesn't display here is the unlock condition from the Delta map. This is game state. So when you go from battling to having the result screen displayed, that's when it will finally unlock, right? So if we start the battle with him, yeah, if everything besides your trigger is true, the trigger will display. So we'll start the battle with him, and if you watch the lower right, as soon as we go into battle, the battling state, the trigger displays. Right, and one thing to keep in mind is if you ever fail the condition, you need to make sure that the trigger also goes away, right? So we just lost. Sorry, my taskbar popped up for a second. The trigger just goes away. We didn't unlock the achievement, no trigger, right? And the one condition holding that together in this case is being in the battling state. Now this will still work because as soon as we enter a new battle to pull this back up, if it's not against this guy, another variable will change. So that's worth keeping in mind as well. Sometimes some of your data will persist through a failure state and the trigger may reappear. You don't want that. And likewise, because we have our stipulation about the end of chapter, that's why we have this flag set as well. That may still be confusing, but again, keep it real simple. At the time you want it to be displayed, you want all of those conditions to be true. Everything that does not have a trigger on it. So if we go in, we battle him, it should unlock as expected as soon as he goes down. So in this case, we set it to 1, and then we can And there we go.
No, I'm trying to.
And now that it's unlocked, obviously it won't show. That's a perfect example of that, I would say. And you may have cases where you want to have a trigger tag in multiple places. Trigger can happen only if they're all active. Yes, correct. So to demonstrate that, right, if we reactivate this and let's say we put a trigger on being in battle, right? Because you may think that's how you do it, right? Because delta mem, these are the same address that we're looking at. Surely you would want it on both. The issue with that is it causes issue with our failure state now. So if we lose this battle, because these other pieces of data persist, and the trigger is now on a battling state as well, you see that the trigger icon is still down here. And that's problematic because we're no longer in the fight. But of course, you can just test these things, right? You pop it off, and now it's gone. And I think it's a really good visual representation, right? I love using this highlights feature. Use this highlights feature for everything while you're testing. Because like visually, I don't think there's any way that this makes more sense. Hey, welcome in. We just talked about RP and we're on to triggers. Though I think we're probably going to be wrapping up in a minute here. Yes, it's the result screen of the battle. So when you win, the result screen can only appear if you win the fight. Um, so you can check by having one hit. I'm not sure I follow by check by having one hit, but when you have one hit and that hit is met, it no longer accumulates, and this will be true forever in this case, right? That's all a hit count is. As soon as you meet it, it is true until it's reset. For example, taking damage. If your health lowers once, it'll have one hit. It's a little different, right? So in that case, like if you wanted to track the case of like losing health, if we took current health, like if this was meant to be done damageless, actually I think it would have to be a pause lock structure, but um, usually the way that's done is you would have to and next delta this less than current health, something like this, I would say. This is like an entirely different topic, but this is how you would track health loss, trying to do something damageless. Actually, this needs to go away. What exactly is pause lock? So a pause lock is, let's say you want to restrict the player from doing something. Like if you have a challenge condition um, with a failure state that requires, yeah, one of many if the player does something against the challenge. Yeah. Functionally though, it's when you have a pause, when like, let's say you hit a certain hit count, like if you take damage 30 times, actually this would be a good example of like, if I take damage 5 times, this will pause. Now, the only way to reset a pause if is when you either, actually, I think either reset will work, but if you want a targeted reset, you have to do a reset next if on a true condition, and that will free your pause lock. So you'll see that that just reset because this is true. A reset if is global though. So if you have a reset if that's true, you can see that it resets every hit count. Everything gets reset. Ah, good to know. Um, yeah, so if you put reset if in an alt group, it will reset everything in every group. Worth noting. Uh, does that imply that pause only pauses things in the current group? No, it seems to pause globally. Frankly, the first pause lock I built was yesterday in chat with the Hero 1900. uh, but then the trigger. Does the trigger show of, or does it only check everything above the trigger? Trigger is global. Not global, like the order of trigger does not matter. It could be anywhere. Again, the same rule just applies. Right. Yeah. So there's a bit of nuance when to use a pause as opposed to just a checkpoint hit. Um, I like the idea of checkpoint hits in, it's like the first thing I think of, right? So a checkpoint hit would be um, at the start of a challenge that has like, let's say multiple legs to it. You checkpoint at the start, go through, and if you fail, you just reset the checkpoint, which forces them to go back and re-get the checkpoint hit. I think there's some nuance to it, right? Because if you have multiple things with hit counts, right? So if you want to checkpoint and you have a hit count threshold for a failure state, a reset does not work there. That's a forced pause lock, in my opinion. Because if you reset the threshold, that's that's buggy behavior. You don't want that. And that was part of the issue that our friend was having in junior chat yesterday. He used the wrong structure. Sometimes you are forced into one, but yeah, I'm sure there are cases where it's preference. I've yet to come across a use case where I've had to use pause lock structure. Um, Thankfully, I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I understand their use case. Um, it can complicate things, I would say, beyond what a checkpoint structure would. Or again, if you just use a targeted reset with the reset next if that's an option for you, this is also quite simple, right? So if you say paused here, right? So you have a pause condition, right? So this will pause lock. And the another thing that's worth considering too, the difference between just a regular pause and a pause lock is a pause lock requires the reset condition to be met. Nothing in game will unlock your pause naturally, whereas a pause lock requires this condition, whatever your reset is, to be met. Yeah, that's a fair call. I mean, it's all about preference, right? I mean, you said it here. I prefer checkpoint, you prefer pause lock, and that's perfect, right? They both work, they both do the job. But you're right that it's important to know both and when to use both. But much of that will come from experience too. Um, Typically, maybe this isn't always the case, but typically you'll want that structure. Let me pull up my set plan um, for your custom challenges. Oops. Uh, Taskbar, please. Whatever. Um, so we look at this, right? Looking at these challenges, how many of these are going to need a checkpoint or a pause lock structure? Uh, this one, this one will not. Basically, I have a stipulation that you have to defeat a certain boss before a certain other boss. This is something where if the prior version has been defeated, it's a simple check, right? I can just do a static check for that. That doesn't need to be a checkpoint or a pause lock. Something like this, though, reach Diamond Ice without getting frozen. This, actually, we could look at because this one's coded. This one uses a checkpoint reset structure. How long will I stream? Great question. I have no idea. It could be 2 hours. It could be 6 hours. It could be 8 hours if I really get into it. But I'm feeling good about the set now, so I think we'll go for quite some time. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. As you start working on things too, let me know if you have questions or post them in junior chat, of course. But until later. Um, so in this case, what we're checking for here, and actually I can show off this challenge as well. Let's see if it's 2. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's see, this was frostbite free. So again, well, let's activate this and I'll show you what the gimmick looks like and I'll talk through the structure that we have here. And this is good because it also has a few triggers in place. So this mechanic is these ice panels will deplete your gauge over time. Now, early on in the stage, it's easy to not get frozen, but on the second and third stage, it's a little more challenging, right? You have longer patches, you have unknown routes, and if you hit 0, you freeze, right? So my trigger just went away at that point because we got frozen. Now we bring him in, we unfreeze here, and you get a little bit of gauge back, but it's already too late. The only way to reset the hit is to meet the checkpoint criteria again. So let's leave the area and quickly talk through what's happening here. So we have a delta mem here on when the area changes. So if we look at this in memory, this is current map ID. 12 is event stage. And if we access the area, this becomes 49. So that's our first criteria, is we delta mem on that exact frame for when you transition from previous area, because there's only one way in as well to this area. And you really, oh, look at that. Thanks, Chris. I've been developing for 250 hours now, and I didn't know that. That's handy. And the other thing that we check on here, because we have a stipulation of reaching the boss still has to be here as part of the story. So like the other one, we have a story check. So if bit 1 of the story flag is still set to false, right? And if we hop here, we'll see we have story progression. We're only up to this part where we have to meet Diamond Ice to start the battle. And that the one we check for is making sure that the player has not defeated them, the check after, basically. So all of these together accumulate to 1 hit. When we meet this, we no longer have to check these criteria. You started the challenge. We also have a few reset conditions or failure conditions. In this case, we have another and next chain. So what are we looking for here? Current map is not 49. Current map is not 4A. And map is not 4B. So all this is checking for is if you leave any of the 3 boss stages at any point, like, you know, transing out and go back to the last area, you fail. And the last reset we have here is just the bar here, right? So if this reaches 0, you also fail. And then the 3 triggers that we have in place here are basically all of our win conditions. The final map is 4B. The story flag changes from not complete to complete when we actually meet the boss, like before we begin the encounter, basically. So in my opinion, this is a pretty tight, pretty concise way of doing a pause lock structure. And another way to visualize this, if anybody happens to be more comfortable with code, is over here. This is how it looks in logic. Now, reset and failure effectively are the same thing. I like to treat them differently because in my head, a reset is like you voluntarily exited the challenge, whereas failure is you failed the challenge. In theory, though, these could just be reset, or sorry, combined into 1. That'd be fine. But simply consider what starts your challenge, what fails your challenge, and then what completes your challenge. If you think of your challenge achievements in this way, often it will meet many of your needs. So, start the challenge, right? So when do you start? You change from the map ID 12 outside of the event area into the event area, and the boss hasn't been defeated yet. Fail if your temp gauge reaches 0 or you leave any of these areas, and complete it when you're in that area and the story flag for the um, boss stage ending is complete. And usually you could just place a trigger on your complete condition, any combination of them. Does that make sense for folks? But anyway, I think with that we are good to move on. Oh, good. Glad it makes sense for us. You should be teaching this class, if anything. We should pull you onto stream, get you onto VC, and have you explain it. I'm sure you'd have way more tips and tricks. Honestly, I would liken this to me teaching like a 101 class, and you'd be teaching like a 408. The French accent is it must be like a really thick French accent. Also, I just updated my RA tools after last stream, so I hope this works a little bit better because it was super buggy last stream. Um, Not correctly displaying my cursor position, being slow to actually type text, and for some reason it wasn't updating the local files, so we'll see. Anyway, give me like 3 minutes. I have to step away and do something, and then we're going to get started on our next achievement, which, looking down through the list here, oh, maybe we add a cheat leaderboard real quick. Oh, this is RA Tools. I had an RA Tools update. I did have a libretro update as well, up to 142 that I had put off for a long time, but I finally took that. Yeah, definitely not required. Also, add event code check. I think we're all good on these. I'm just gonna remove these real quick. Oh, you know what? Actually, one thing I needed to do, which I'll do when I get back, I need to see how to force alt groups in RA tools because I want to put all my protection code into an alt group if I can, and I think Suzuka had a function to do that. So um, again, just give me 3 minutes, and then we'll look into one of his scripts and see. All right, I'm back. Let's see, what did I miss? Yeah, states I always recommend exporting. I realize it's kind of slower, but and I've showed it a bunch of times. I don't need to show it again, but at least then you can like name your files and go back to them later. That is lucky. Um, Again, I gotta look into playing the manual because that would have been a great time to just play like a minute or two and then save ourselves 2 to 4 hours of ads. But put that on my to-do list for next time. Anyway, we're gonna check out Suzuka's GitHub. See if we can't find that script. You know what? I remember what it was. It was We, Dave Disaster. I should probably ask him permission before I do this too. Before I just yoink this. Actually, let me make sure it works before I get permission to use it. Let's see. So we want this in our functions. All right, and I need to see how he uses this as well. Huh, it's interesting that he has an or condition on this, whereas when he forces core pause, he ands them together. I think I'm gonna try first with an and condition, just see if that does the trick. It's gonna look a little odd at first, but just want to see what it does. Okay, that does not work. So what if we or them? Okay, that kind of works. And it has both of our I don't understand what this is doing though. Because this will always be true. The point, just cleanliness. I would rather have core just be this as opposed to this. Where it's like, okay, what do I really need? Oh, these 4 lines. You know what I mean? Not necessary by any means, but preference. I guess one way I could check to see what Sue did was look at the live achievement. I could, but I like the idea of an altar more. Best rescuer. Let's see what we did. Actually, we could auto-sear this. For these, I won't need all groups. Yeah, so he does leave alt 1 here. Um, you might be right though, because where it will become an issue is this one achievement, because trigger and measure need to go into alt. So, I guess you win. Thankfully, I haven't yet put this on everything, so. Why are you mad? Oh, maybe it's not. Oh, it's this. Actually, why don't we do that? Okay, and now we're here, but these will need cipher code protection. Everything will need cipher code protection. Alright, and I suppose we should work on our cheater board. But I do need to see the tool syntax again to see if we can create a hidden leaderboard from here. Well, maybe this is still. Okay, I think we have to hide it on the site. That's fine though. Value is gonna have to be a big count, I think. All right, this is gonna need some pretty extensive testing, I would say, but uh, we'll see. I'm hoping we oh, actually, this needs to not be zero. This just needs to be actually this should do. Though I suppose we need we'll probably need other checks. No, you're good. Right now I am creating a hidden leaderboard for any time a player enters an in-game cheat code. So I want to alert the player by any means necessary because if you save with any of these codes enabled, you will not be able to earn any achievements at all, ever. So it's going to be listed on the forum. It's going to be in the warning achievement, and as soon as they enter a code, they're going to get a leaderboard entry that only they'll see to again warn them. I hope that's good practice. We're going to find out. Uh, it'll only be for hardcore then. They'll still have the forum post and the warning achievement. There's nothing further I can do for softcore players at that point. But hardcore players will get one extra notice. I'm gonna take my coffee mug to the kitchen. Pretty unpopular emulator. Yeah, I mean it's unpopular, but um, from my experience, it still plays pretty similar to RetroArch. In fact, it's easier. I hate RetroArch personally. Um, they're not here anymore. I don't know if they want this spoiled, but Gamer is on their first set, and they've only been here for like a week or two. But they dropped out of the program 3 years ago because they had issues with the Spyro set that they're currently working on, not being able to find certain addresses, not being able to find certain pointers. And it turns out at least those two things that we tried to find are in DTCM. So their very first set is going to be BizHawk only. It was, yeah, they lucked out. Personally, I think a CR would be impressed with that. But yeah, that's where my mind is going to jump from now on. Is if any memory is inaccessible, DTCM. We're going to look for it. A surprising amount of useful data is there for being only 5,000 bytes of data. I don't know why the devs felt the need to use that, but whatever. I'm sure there's something that I'm not aware of. Is that really all it is? Is because of DTCM? I feel like it's rare enough that the general population of devs probably don't know about it like at all, or don't even think to check it. But it's come up a surprisingly common amount here in the junior dev program. And we've had, I think your instance will be the fourth. I mean, you're no longer a junior, but uh, you're the fourth that I've heard of that has had a BizHawk only set for that reason. I wish it would get exposed. Yeah, that's funny to me. I mean, there's only what, nine, eight, 7 or 8 sets on the entire site that are BizHawk only. So it's very telling that people don't know about it. What is my map variable? Actually, map ID? Current map ID? Um, I think this will be enough. Looking to Maldia source code, it seems like this would require massive change. On the other hand, that's interesting. Well, yeah, I don't dare even try pronouncing it because I feel like I would get it very, very wrong. Oh, you know what? I did this wrong. We need a bit count instead. Um, yeah, I feel like even if they can apply it for one but not the other, that would be fine. But I wholeheartedly think that the main developers need to figure out a way to expose that memory. Or if it's RA's responsibility, then they need to do that. Holy shit, this uses remember recall. That's crazy. So we'll just do that? That's insane. Okay, I love it. Alien issue on the melody dish. Yeah, well, I didn't expect RA tools to do that automatically. That seems like a nice optimization. I won't be complaining. I don't know, something like this. Do we think this is good? This is like the final warning, the final stop. And it also has the same format as our warning achievement, so I think that's quite nice. All right, well, let's promote this and just see, or promote this to local, I mean. Set all. Okay. That's very kind of you to imply. I, it's tough to say. I don't know. I was gonna do my own badges because I think it would be good to like demonstrate the proficiency. Um, but I think it would kill my motivation to continue working on the set if I had to make my all of my 76 badges. I just don't enjoy the art. Yeah, I we probably feel very similarly in that respect. So I've decided to work with Akira again. Akira helped me out in my first set, and become pretty good friends at this point. Where he made my profile picture, all my stream emotes, and other stream assets. So I reached out and I was curious if he would be down to make those. So if he does that, we're going to be much closer. Otherwise, I mean, realistically, we're not far off. Coding and testing is really the biggest piece right now. Coding these achievements, I don't think will take long. I think if I sat down off stream for like 8 hours, I can probably bang out the rest of these pretty easily. Because many of these are going to be structured the same way. Like these will all be an easy copy paste. Structurally, these will not be much different. I just need their location. Um, these will take a little bit of work, but that's okay. Um, these will be easy. This will be easy. This will be easy. This one takes a little bit of work. So honestly, we're not far, and these will all be pretty easy as well. The help requests I need to test all individually, um, so I can get their memory locations, but we're close. That worries me a bit, honestly. I because my last set only sat in backlog for 3 weeks. Granted, I know Sai is the one that mainly does that, where he scoops people early if they're active. Um, because I did my first set, he won't be doing this one. So it's likely that I'll sit for longer. And this is also a much longer RPG that people probably aren't going to want to pick up. Um, so I'm really hoping that like once this is in a good state and I put it into RFR, I can submit my testing request, have them finish it, and I'll do a second playthrough as well on either BizHawk or the other core, and hopefully weed out a lot of that stuff. I'm feeling pretty good about it, but there's still a few things that I don't have experience with yet. I'm just going off of what I think is best practice. Like, I've never had to use cheat protection, basically, so that's going to be brand new. Never had to provide a save file for for a game, so we have to generate that save file. Um, among other things, we're also experimenting now with like this trigger measure that's going to take a little time to figure out how to do with RA tools. So it's hard to put a timeline on it. I think another month, realistically, of like off and on development, testing, badge work. I might have to request one extension because I'm at the 2 month mark right now. And then if it sits in backlog optimistically for like 2 months, I would say we're about three from having the set complete, whether it's a graduation set or not. Yeah, honestly, I've said it before, but like I share your gripe, your issues with like actually playing through games. And that was my issue here. This is a 25-hour game for the story, and I'm still not done with the post game. That took the first 6 weeks of my development was just trying to play through the game. Um, it should not have taken 6 weeks to play 25 hours, but it did. And a lot of it too was like I had to find all the bit flags for these, and I had to find all the bit flags for the story at the same time, while making save states at relevant points. Like it was exhausting. I'm not going to do another RPG for a long time unless it's a collaboration with somebody who can play the story and collect save states. That's going to be the crux of it, I think. All right, let's see if this leaderboard works. What's a short one here? This one. Nope. Again, noting everything I think to do my playthrough. Yeah, I mean, that's I wish I could trick myself into that mindset, honestly. It's good though. I hope your development goes smoother. Like you're able to play through and have a good time with it. Um, I don't know if it's a new game for you or if you have experience with it, but this was a new game for me, so I had to like learn everything. Um, and it just being longer was a complete drag. Flags are a problem. Yeah. Go through the game and open every single chest. That was painful. Yep, 100%. In this game, I think there's 300 collectibles, and so many bit flags for the story, and I'm still collecting those bit flags. It's crazy. That's why I'm gonna do a racing game or an action game next, I think, because the racing game experience was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it with my first set. Anyway, this is so interesting. Why it generated like this. We're gonna be able to ask if I can fix random games with toolkit issues. Yeah, you're doing the impossible as far as they're concerned. This is kind of a silly thing, but I wonder if this is a problem with order of operations. Let's just try that and see what happens. Is there really only 8 of these? No, there should be more. It adds 8 flat. What an interesting structure this has generated. I don't even know if I can explain this. I'll have to pick it apart if it works. Crazy. And no. So it's not score and it's not value. I feel like value is what we probably want here though. I thought I had that set. Oh, I didn't. Oh, actually, we don't. Card cipher code amount activated. We shouldn't even need bit count here. That's probably why it's acting weird. Previous less than current, and then we just submit value cipher code activated. Let's just try this with a simpler layout. I I think it was because I was basically like effectively nesting bit count in there by accident. I still don't know why it's adding a static 22 here. I guess because it's subsourcing, but I would feel like that's not necessary. Anyway, let's actually no, we don't even want this because I don't know. Let's just try one more and see what happens. Okay, that looks good. Oh, it doesn't display the description in game, so I might have to change the title to that do not save. Just see how that comes out. The description at that point doesn't even really matter. Um, let's just make sure it works on more than one card as well. It should. I mean, that already looks good, so. I just know players are going to do this, accidentally save and get pissy with me. Um, oh, the name didn't get updated. There we go. Let me just try one more with the new name. Yeah, I like it. I think that does the job quite well. So let's see if we can publish this and make it hidden. I think we can because I did that with my last set. Oh, maybe not. Huh. I might have to open a request for this. All right. Well, let me do that real quick. All right, we'll see where that goes. To make it invisible, give it a negative order. Does that work, really? Big if true. Let's find out. Oh, the 13th is already replying.
Yeah, living a fast life, enjoy your.
We'll see what they say before I make any further changes. Oh, I see it now. Okay, cool. Now let me just pop back in there and make sure. Yeah, so it no longer displays, and it should only be on the manage section. Very cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Zen. Um, Still, interesting structure that it came up with. Add source 34, and then it adds these subs these greater than 22. So why? I don't understand where the 22 is coming from. The 22 just seems like a dud value. Is it because of this delta here? Yeah, see if you can work this one out. I have a feeling it's because of this. Why would it do it this way? It's so weird. I mean, it works, but God, I'm gonna have to defend this in a review. A reviewer's gonna look at this and be like, "What the fuck are they doing?" But I don't know how much simpler I can really make it in the code. Like it's very straightforward. Game ID is 178916. I don't know if it's actually going to be on auto CR though. Now that it's hidden, but we can peep it. That's a negative. Not on auto CR. It's probably only going to be on the manage page. I'll just put a link in the chat though. Yeah, here we go. Wait, where's the logic? No way. Is the logic hidden from view as well? Oh, here you go. This is gonna be a better one. Yeah. This one actually displays the logic. It's not the prettiest, but it at least shows the static value add and the delta in the start. Yeah, this looks fine though. The value. Add source into measured. I mean, if that's the only issue with this, then whatever. I'll take the L on that in a review if needed. Oh, you got it? What's the good word? Oh! Well, you can't enter more than 34 though. Oh wait, is it because... hold on. I think I... Never mind, hold on. Let me repeat this and see if I can get it. So, let's see here. the result of these add source by default is 0, and then as soon as you redeem one, it should. Wait, so before add source, so 1 frame prior it should add 1, but these just sub the 1. No, I think it's, I think that's part of it. It's an add source subsource structure, even though it's an incrementing, not decrementing bit count. So it needs, I don't know. That must be it. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with it because it works, but I do need to understand the exact reason why it's happening for my review. Because I would just think the add and sub would cancel out here. I don't know. I'm not looking to expend too much thought on it. Okay, let me at least grab the ID, pop that in here. I think it's all kosher. It's adding on both sides of the operation. So if you have 0 in the add and 34 in the sub, well, you wouldn't have 34 in the sub because if all the bits are 0, you add 0, sub 0, and then you, let's say, activate one code and one bit flag flips, so you add 1, sub 1. Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm landing on this. Yeah, maybe the comparison is the issue, right? Because we're checking that you actually increment on code activation. So it probably is literally just this that's causing the issue, because normally in this structure we have oh, you know what? I might be able to fix this, just structuring it like my collectibles. I tend to trust RA tools more than not. Maybe that's a fault, but yeah. Yeah, because normally I have something like this. Previous equals this and current equals this. Maybe that's what I should be doing. But that's the issue. I don't know the static count. They could be entering their first code or their 30th. Because we're not doing a measured like accumulation. We're just doing a checking that it's incrementing. So that's why it's weird. Still don't fully understand why it's doing it, but whatever. I'll worry about that pre-review. Okay, cool. So that check is done. Don't need that anymore. And we can go back and finally start checking some things off our list. Well, how much of the progression do we have actually? I don't think progression is done. Or maybe it is. Yeah, so this is our win con. It is filled out. So yeah, I think we're good. Let me just test a couple of these before we actually send it. Wait. I have one achievement out of order. Whatever, not gonna worry about that. Actually, there's a lot more than that out of order.
Give it up's gonna be alright. All night, alright.
Um, I I don't want to I don't want to make it public just yet. I'll leave it as is, but I will mention it in review. Or RFR and review. I'll just mention it to them. Okay, and actually, I should check. Let's see. I should check to make sure that sheet protection is working. Oh, well, it helps if we activate it. There we go. Yo, what's up, man? We're making some good progress. Finally, after so long. Oh, I will. That's nice of you to. It's nice of you to remember. I'll text her right now. We ended up going out for lunch yesterday. We just went to. Actually, I shouldn't say because that will that will dox me within a 20-mile radius. We went to a local pub, local-ish, and had a good time. Shopped around town a little bit. All right, just sent it. I don't remember if we've been or not. Um, I'll message you on Discord where we went. Actually, I don't think we've been, but they're all right. Who knows? Maybe you've stopped in once or twice, or just on your own. But haven't been. That's too bad. I mean, they're not the most exceptional, but they're fine. Oh shit! Somebody just got muted on the site for rule breaking. Yikes. Um, Never been there. Sounds cool. Yeah, it is. I mean, not bad. Yeah, I mean that's what they get for slinging hate speech around. You get what you deserve. All right. We are gonna do a little testing here. Do I even have it unlocked at this stage? Oh, phew, I do. I probably could have just cheated this, but probably a better test to do it by hand. Um, did you do anything for your mom on Mother's Day? I assume she didn't come up for that or anything. That's nice of you. Yeah. I mean, if you sent them yesterday, they might they might not get to her for a little bit. Yeah, no, I get it. It's tough when you live literally an ocean apart. No, actually, I should change my step counter here. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's actually like pretty thoughtful to be honest, because I was kind of wondering how you would have sent them overseas. All right, I forget how to do this section. Is it here? Yeah, that's it. Kind of going for my own challenge. All right, so cipher code entered. This should not pop at the end. Um, ain't cheap, but yeah, well, it's still thoughtful since you can't like take her out to dinner, right? Okay, no. Oh shit, we didn't have it active. I'm fucking stupid. Let's see. It would have been at least this one. Can't see any of these values, I don't think. But yeah, it definitely would not have triggered on this. I do need to retest that though. Or actually, you know what? We're gonna do a little cheating and flip a bit. Yeah, that looks fine. Um, Nothing she wants. What do you mean? She doesn't have any hobbies or anything? Like, I get that where she lives there's probably not much to do, but surely something, right? All right, cool, that works. Let's see, what's our other cheats? Internship. Yeah, fair enough. Well, honestly, flowers end up probably being cheaper than like hobby stuff anyway, so too much of a hassle to send her a book. Yeah, I mean, hey, fair. I mean, how long does it take to ship stuff there? Is it like 3 weeks? 2, 3 weeks? Oh, you'll probably have to pay. Somebody probably has to pay like import taxes too. I know you have said before that you have to pay on like technology stuff. Like when you went back home and took like an Xbox with you that one time. Yeah, oh, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, our cheat protection looks pretty tight. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So, story's completely done. We can start marking all these off. I at least need to test all these other ones as well. Oops, did I mark this? Yep, that's fine, that's fine. Almost 59%. All right, let's test all these others. Let's see, strong suit I think is next. Oh, you know what? I need to reset all of these. Or first, I guess I need to publish them. Um, oh dang, nice. I didn't even realize that they were still playing. Last time I listened to either of them was probably high school, somewhere in there. There was only ever one Finger 11 song that I cared about, or most popular. I mean, how were they though? How was the show? Oh, sick. Yeah. They should have gotten like Breaking Breaking Benjamin too. Trifecta of high school music. Damn, why is our cheat protection still top here and here? I thought I fixed that. Yeah, I imagine they played their most famous one, Paralyzer. Let's see here, strong suits. Yeah, we definitely moved those down. I don't know either. Ah, yeah, it makes sense. It's probably by far the most famous. Like if I pulled up their discography on Spotify, it's probably up there in like the billions. Okay. What other bosses do we need to test here? Spade Magnus scenario we should test. Ah, I really don't have to replay this stage. Let's see here. All right, here we go. All right, strong suit next. Oh, did you want to play that game, Matt, later today? Had some errors reported by a fellow translator. I hope it's just some typo again. Yeah, sounds good. I'll be here. Sweet. Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking to check it out. I want to play it with somebody else in the community too, the guy who recommended it. So hopefully I can learn a little bit from him at some point. I don't know how complex it is, but we'll find out. Not sure how long I'm going to stream today either. It's been 2 hours. I might stream for another one or two, and we can game a little bit if you're around. And I might just do some solo work in the evening or stream again. We'll see. Actually, if it's nice out today, I need to go for a walk too, which it looks like it might be. Rain 3 to 4. All right, maybe I'll stream until 3. We can play for a couple hours, and then I'll go for my walk at like 5. Ooh, takeout, huh? What are you guys getting? Chinese? Thai? Yeah, you joke, Death, but like, I'm getting to that age where I have to. I gotta get my daily exercise in. That's my goal, anyways. Like, if I'm off work for any day, I have to do something. I have to walk a few miles, or I have to. Um, like, I've got some home gym equipment here. I gotta use some of that. Just a good way to stay in shape. And once the weather gets even nicer, I'm gonna be out hiking a lot more too. Thankfully, I live in a really nice state for hiking. There's some really beautiful trails here. I'll probably be free later around 6 your time. I probably won't be free at 6. 3 to 4 would be ideal if you're able to pull that. So that would be 4 to 5 your time. We'll figure something out though. I don't know, maybe 7 or 6 o'clock. I'll think on it. I'll think on it. Well, that's good at least. Let's see. I have a pre-clip strong. Yeah, I tried to avoid that. Knew it was coming. All right, word. Yeah, I usually wind down at like 8 or 9, so I don't know, maybe we just play for like an hour or something. I don't know why I'm having issues finding these states. It should work. Let's see, shrunk suit active. Okay, that looks good. All right, this one I think was after the Waza attack. Right here. Honestly, we've got quite a lot done at this point. Friday, I spent quite a lot of time. Well, I can give you an exact percentage, 58%. That includes badges, though, which I am hoping to offload to a buddy. Or it does not include, yeah, it does include badges, so we'll see. And actually, it's about to go up too, because I'm testing all of the story progression right now. So it's coming along. I mean, I still have some memory digging work I got to do, and maybe a little bit of rework. We'll see. Huh, that's interesting. I have an unaccounted for enemy. I'll have to fix that. I mean, it still works, but damn, kind of crazy. Oh, I forgot to, damn it, forgot to activate it again. Oh, that's fine. Let's see. Oh, and actually, I need to update my folder. So I guess it wouldn't have activated anyway. Wait a second. This is Regal Flush. I must have just added this for the final boss. Okay, there we go. All right, and actually, I guess while I'm here, I should see what this enemy ID is. So I can figure out what's going on with it. 187. Sorry, this is 8-bit, so it's actually 87. ID 3. I must have just not included that. Yeah, I didn't. So, what do we even call it? So I don't think this has a name. You know what? We're gonna call it the same exact thing. Yes. Yes, we are. So this will be its own. Yep. Yep, it is. You make a good point though. This, even if you didn't necessarily intend to make it, I need to put a unique name. Let me see what the if there's anything on the wiki for this. So my rationale behind all of these bosses having leaderboards is you fight them at different parts of the story, largely, and they have different abilities as they get stronger. They deal different damage. They have more health. And at least for the first two variants, they're the variant one is always forced at a certain part of the story, which means that your access to certain items and chips and whatnot is very limited, which means that the leaderboard time is going to be unique. Same with V2, except you have a little bit of variance here where you have two options to fight it in the story, but you can only fight it one time, whether you choose to fight it early in the story or before the final part of the game. Um, the last three, in theory, you could fight whenever, but again, they have different strengths. So if anybody wants to hunt times, I think giving them the option to do that is better than not. Especially if I'm going to include R, which is considered like the endgame variant, and then Omega is like the ultra powered up variant. These two I definitely want to include, right? And I also want to include V1 and V2, given that you fight them in the story, mandatory, at different times. So really the only thing that would get left out is V3, which is nothing special. You can fight V3 in the story or post game. So at that point, I'm just going to include all of them. And yeah, you can call it bloat. You know, CR may say that it's too much, but it's my preference. I like the option to be able to compete at any point, right? Post game or early game. So we'll see. We'll see how it comes out. Um, Now, I think the wiki is going to be very limited on Crimson Dragon. Yeah, all it talks about is the Omega variant, or the Sigma variant. No reference to any earlier versions of it. It's so annoying, because in game it has the same name. So what name do we pop on here? Yeah, I don't think they had that back in 2008. They must not have thought of that. I know, ancient times. Actually, was this game 2009? I'm misremembering. Something like that. Because I can't just slap a different name on this. I mean, everywhere else this would be a V3. No, this would be an R. Uh, maybe we just do that for right now. Oh, I'll deal with it later. Yeah, right here. The name is the exact same as the V1 variant. The the problem is that memory in memory it's oh wait, never mind, it's a V1 variant. I thought it was 3 because I was looking at the wrong address. Okay. That's not any better though. So there probably is still there's probably still a V3 at the later point, but yeah, sorry, V4, V2 effectively, but they don't have a different name. That's the big issue. So I feel like I can't give it my own name because the players won't be able to associate the two. Like if I put a leaderboard for fighting Crimson Dragon V2, it's like, okay, which one is that, right? So maybe we just the RP does work as is. It's not the most elegant, but it's still functional as is. Okay, that is all done, which means we get to check all of these off. All right, we're basically 60%. You love to see it. And actually, many of these will be copy paste jobs because it's the same structure. So anything that's before chapter ends, which looks like 3 of them, will be quick and easy. So let's go ahead and bust those out. Acid Ace before. Let's see. Ace the test. Be basically the same as Curtain Call. Let's see. Acid Ace is 8A. We'll need the map ID, and instead of Queen Virgo, we're going to do Jack Corvus scenario ends. And the unlock condition will be the same. Let's see. Oh man. I really wish my my stuff was consistent. Here we go. Wait, this isn't the... There's an optional fight. And it's during this scenario, so it's got to be... Honestly, it's a lot of fun. I've yet to play it casually. Like, I didn't even play this growing up. I played the first one. The first one was pretty good. Like the style, I could see that. I haven't played Crosscode yet either, but I do have it. Okay, maybe we can fight him here. I really wish I had made a state at this point. That's my bad. Um, hmm. Might need to go back to a guide real quick. Of course, this guy doesn't go over the cuts out part way. Doesn't go over the right scenario. Alright, let's check this guy out. Okay, right at the start of the Jack Corvus scenario, make your way to the back where you fought. So we step on the base square at the end. It's time to fight Ace. So this one's required. I just like forget. Is there no... Maybe there is no optional fight. Of course, this guy doesn't talk about these fights. Hmm. We'll come back to that. I might have just actually forgotten. Alright, we could at least do Wolfwoods. Oh, you know what? I should check these notes too. Actually, no, that wouldn't have worked. PSX Funkin'. Is that the same as that old browser game? That's kind of crazy. Reminds me of that one set that had a single note where everything was just a massive chain or linked list. Huh, that's kind of cool. So I assume it's a homebrew or a hack. So I can't imagine that was actually licensed back then. Actually, I don't think that existed back then. Okay, yeah, this is definitely Jack Corvus scenario. Um, so let's get the area. Um, that's pretty nice. Honestly, I feel like working on those really short games and being able to publish in like a week must be incredible. Wish I knew what that was like. Definitely gonna be taking a break after this set. Doing something shorter for my next one. Oops. Let's go here. Need it. Yeah. 8B. So have you made all four of your claims at this point? Have you made all of your four claims? Yeah, fair enough. I was honestly thinking I would do the same, like just not make many claims. Probably just two to start. It feels like too much otherwise. Yeah, exactly. Because as soon as you hit the 3 month mark, you have to make a forum post, and then 6 months you have to send the update to uh, dev comp, and I don't know, something about that feels bad. Actually, this is post. This is after the scenario. I need to reorder my achievements. Whoops. Oh, no, this is correct. Wolf Woods is not correct, though. You know, this would make a lot more sense. So, why don't we pop that here? Okay, so let's reorder that. Okay, cool. So that's done, and then I think for now I'm gonna avoid acing the test, or at least until I can confirm that the fight actually exists in the way I think it does. I thought it did. It might just be earlier in the game, and I just never made a state. Because structurally, we have one optional boss per chapter after the start of chapter 4, which feels kind of late. I think it would make sense to have one in the Club Strong chapter as well before Cygnus Wing. So I'll look into that. So I feel like I had to have seen it if I made the achievement. But anyway, we won't dwell on that. Let me make sure I coded all these correctly. Queen Virgo, Jack Corvus. So this one needs to be. No, that's fine. This one needs to be before the end of the game. What's the last one? This will also be end of game. No, this one was also Queen Virgo, right? I think it was. Intermission 4. Before Jack Corvus. Yeah, so he's fought, but it's not an optional fight. Acidace has 2 fights in the main campaign that are forced. One is unwinnable, and I have an achievement there for not taking damage. And then the other is Acidace B, which is winnable, but that's part of the story, and I don't have any achievements made for that. There should be an optional fight too. The issue with well, I guess I'm looking at the Black Ace guide. I could check the Red Joker guide to see if they talk about the optional fights, but they don't go over the optional fights, which annoys me because Cygnus Wing. No, Acid Illegal is the B variant, the powered up story version, non optional. The issue with these game FAQs is they don't talk about the optional fights like Cygnus Wing at all. I don't know. I can sort these out later too. I just need to ensure that the fights that I do have happen at the right time. Oh my god, it's so frustrating. Nothing worse than no documentation. That's why I'm looking forward to doing a Need for Speed game again, because everything is documented for the most part. I mean, I'm also familiar with many of them, so shouldn't be much of an issue. Let's see, Wolf, I need to check out. That looks like the type of link that I wouldn't want to click, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sure, I trust that it's fine, but holy, that looks like an awful link. Okay, so Luna Restored, I think, is after Queen Virgo. Okay, so Wolf is after Queen. Let's see how that checks out. Wolf after Queen, which is Jack. Yes, that looks fine. And then the last two are before campaign end. Cool, cool, cool. And then, oh, is it like one of those 2000 sites? Yeah, or 90s even. All right, let's see, Moon Destroyer. See the last one. And he should be the only one in the final scenario. So I think we're good for now. So we need the map ID. Campaign end will be right here. Enemy. 8. Map. AA. Okay, let's test drive it. Oh shit. Oh, it did the thing again. Man, this fucking hate RA Libretro sometimes. Alright, that's back, and then disaster averted. Okay, cool. Okay, trigger looks good. Okay. We take those. back to 60% after all that. So I guess next we can do surviving acidase without taking damage. That's gonna be an interesting one because the fight just kind of fades out on its own. Um, Actually, I need to update these triggers as well. Or the to-dos on the triggers. Survive your acidase fight without using. Let's see what we have for that. Of course. My shitty save stating again means I don't have it. It's probably right here. I don't know if this is the forced encounter or the. I think this is the illegal. That is fine to delete. Yeah. There's another though. Actually, this one should be in the. Let's see. Yeah, have you ever seen I mean I'm sure you've seen Invincible, right? They just have to fight it out. Only half survive. They gotta call the herd. Okay, here we go. So here's the fight. Intermission 5, which would be after Jack Corvus pre-endgame. Okay, we can find that. After Jack scenario. Before school. Truly, this isn't it. I do wonder what the competencies look like for code reviewers. Like Auth is saying that there's a lot of responsibility, a lot of things they have to do, a lot of pressure. Like, what does that entail? Outside of the occasional review. Alright, actually, let me read up a little bit more on the scripted fight when it happens. Okay, so it's after this point. Actually, I might have to go back one state in order to find this. Okay, it was here. Or was it? No. I mean, suspect has come and gone as a CR though. That's not anything I would be concerned with. He's also been here since the beginning, at least beginning of the junior dev program. He very well could come back at any time he wants, I'm sure. But Aaron stepping down, I don't think he's gonna change his decision because it sounds like he did it as a Discord protest. Well, naturally they have to fill the backlog, and they have candidates in mind already. They do talk about possible future CRs. Wait, is this the scripted one? And I'm just like cheating as hell putting on. Oh, this is the scripted one. Okay, well I am being ridiculous then. Let's unfreeze this guy. Um, so this one was 8 p.m. on 27. Here we go. Um, yeah, that's the thing, Prez. I mean, it is an invite-only group. That much is publicly known. So if they feel like you're a good fit, they will chat with you. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised, Rez, if you got it. Hmm. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Rez. Take it easy. Let's see here. I should see how I structured this scripted encounter elsewhere. I think actually this one was set up as a real challenge. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so we'll just copy this guy. Does this happen after the minigame or before it? Oh, way after. This is like almost post game. Okay. So we'll stick this right here. And honestly, losing HP is all set. I think this is going to be an easy one. Complete. This will have to be different. Uh, so let's get the enemy ID, the variant map. I guess I'm going to need the script encounter end state as well. So let's get that while we're here. These actually just need to be fight. Um, assume this is what we're going to want to use as our win con. This will be bit 3. And honestly, I think we pull these out and section them off a little bit. I think this will work. Alright, so map, and then enemy. Let's do enemy first. 8A, variant 1. And then let's see if map is still loaded right now. 12. Should be event stage, let's just confirm. Yes. Okay, map is 12. And then this will be 0, and then game state changes from not battling to battling. Okay, I think this is good. We do need to set this up though in the achievement. For some reason this doesn't like what I have here. Oops, no, I already had it. So I think the essay scripted challenge, is that trigger 1, essay scripted counter event. Okay, that should fix that piece. Okay, that looks better. Alright, let's test drive that. So, oh right, this is right. Okay, we have the trigger. And even though our health is frozen, we should lose it when we take damage, because it should flicker. Okay, we lose it when we take damage. Good. Now, one way to also further test this is to set it to 500 and just wait out the timer. Because we should never fail when we cheat our health. Doesn't unlock immediately after the fight, but there's no result screen. So I think that will have to do. But otherwise, I think that's good. And let me just confirm that you can't run from this fight, because I don't think that's an option. Yeah, okay. Very nice. Let's get that published and mark it off our list. This one I'm not going to tackle today because it's going to be a fucking disaster. That one I'm going to need some Suzuka code, I think, to get working because I need to measure it in an alt and trigger. Maybe trigger and core measured alt. I don't know. That might still be fine, but I also need to look at Kiwi Taco's example because he did something similar to what I have planned for that. So I'm gonna have to like combine the two ideas. This one we can make though, Heartless Gauntlet. Now that will have a challenge structure as well. So let's get that copied. Actually, it's gonna be more of this structure. Um, all this B2 gauntlet. Or maybe something else. Maybe we'll just call it its achievement name. Or boss gauntlet. That's probably better. Alright. Give me 2 seconds. I have to step away for just real quick. Alright, I'm back. Um, so there's a lot that we actually have to look at here. Um, Thankfully, I have some pretty solid states, no pun intended. I think we're looking at pre-post game type stuff. Yeah, 4 boss 3, I think is it. Yeah, okay, great. Cool. So this all happens in Meteor Server 3, back to back to back. So we just need the map ID, which is 58. Let's see, we should probably just do um, start the boss gauntlet. Well, let's I think we have to do other stuff here in this area. But I suppose a better solution will be to start the challenge when. Let me check my bid flags. So I think basing this on bid flags would be the way to go. All right, so gauntlet start will be bid 7 here. Do I even want to add it up there? Probably not. Yeah, I do. And then the end should be. Should be bid 5 on this guy. What is going on? There we go. Okay. So we start the challenge when boss gauntlets start. Delta mems 0 to 0 to 1. Reset their failure when it's our health value. Current battle HP is less than current battle HP. Or actually, previous is greater than current, indicating that we lost health. Or, no, sorry, we need to do this without healing, so it's if it ever goes up, we have a problem. So that should be correct. Oops, changing the wrong one. Put that down here. So fail when current battle HP EPS current battle HP is less than HP. And then we win when the current map is 5-8 previous. Honestly, it might be that simple. What are we looking at here? Right, current list, not right. Says this is not defined. I don't know. It looks pretty defined to me. Is this wrong? Why? Why are we dying here? This looks very straightforward to me. Oh, that's why. Duh. Alright, cool. Let's test drive this guy out. Heartless Gauntlet. Okay, actually we can unfreeze this. Probably unfreeze the health for right now. We take a little damage. Yep. We'll get rid of him. Okay, stops displaying. And that's because our trigger is set up incorrectly. But we'll fix that. Wait, did we reset? We reset. Current map ID should not have changed. Delta, last frame it was less than it is current frame. Yeah, indicating gained health. So what is the problem? Let's pause on reset. So we reset after battle, but which? Which are we resetting on? Oh, the health. Okay. Because, yeah, value doesn't exist outside of battle. So I think we have another health value we can use. It's gonna be this one, I think. Hell, one of these, right? Actually, it's probably gonna be none of the threes. Let's get into a battle real quick. I suppose it could just be a pointer as well. That's an option. Um, well, almost definitely a pointer, right? But question is, does this exist outside of battle? Well, let's do a little range search on this and see if we get lucky. Oh, also, I was just searching the wrong dang thing. That would do it. Well, we've got a metric ton of pointers here, but only 4 appear to be usable. So I guess we'll try out the one that has. Well, actually, let's get out of battle and see what happens to them. two two nullify, and then two remain the same. So that's useless. It seems like at least within 200 bytes, there's nothing. Let's whip out PF2.
Why me? You don't even know me. Because what I've seen, I've liked. And I got a good feeling about you.
And on the count of three. Dreams.
195 EF4. Okay, odds are this will not persist out of battle, but
1111, make a wish.
yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I don't think we're gonna find this. I don't know if this exists. Though let's be smart about it. Wait, I do have something, but it's only outside of battle. Let me do some more culling. I might need to do. Okay, so this one updates. Does it remain after battle? Holy shit. We have found the global HP value. Now, can we modify it? No, it appears to be displayed. It also nulls out when we enter a battle. We do have candidates though. Oh my god, this is gonna be awful. situation to work with, I think. I'm gonna need to change which one it's looking at, depending on the state. I also can't have it null out, so I'll do a continuous here. Why did I keep two of these?
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on. What flavor is this?
All right. Why don't we bookmark these and see how this compares to probably game state. And just see if there's any rhyme or reason to when these things actually update. No. Not really. Like, we can change. There's kind of a grace period to shifting from in battle to out of battle, but there is no grace period from transitioning from out of battle to in battle in terms of tracking the HP. So it's not great. At least not with this game state variable. There's probably a better way of tracking this. I do think it's going to be kind of a shit show. Actually, could look at this guy too. It's kind of our last ditch effort. Yeah, so it nulls when we load into battle. There's probably a variable for that though that we could pause on. Like if there is a variable for loading into battle, we pause on that. And then we can transition out of battle without issue and track the HP. It's gonna be a lot of work for just one dumb achievement. I I don't know. I think it's time for my walk though, so I'm gonna take off here. Might be back later, closer to evening time, maybe 3 to 4 hours. I'm not sure. I might just do some offline dev work as well. Yeah, thank you. I'll post again if I do go live, but appreciate you guys hanging out like always. Take it easy.